Alright guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Ordinary E. New series or season, whatever you want to call it, series 3. Like I promised in my previous videos, we're going to now build computers with all the parts I've been gathering to give away to you guys, and if you guys don't participate in the early days, then I'll give it to somebody, I'm sure. So yeah, let's get into this. I enjoy building computers, so we're going to build a new computer with all the parts I've collected over the past, God knows now, is it 8 months, nearly a year. I've got a lot of parts, so we need to start getting rid of those, and also seeing if any of those parts will upgrade the PC that I built for myself. But yeah, like I promised, I'm going to start building the PCs now with the parts I'm collecting and give them away. If you guys have any parts and you want to donate them so I can build the computers and keep giving them away, see the link below for my Instagram and message me on Instagram. Possibly we sort something out where I pick it up. Possibly I will or give you an address where you can send it. But anyway, let's get into it. So, and we've learned from building a PC that it's always good to start with a CPU and a motherboard that is compatible. So let's see what we got in terms of a CPU. We have two CPUs in here, and I've labelled them 775 and 771. I can't remember what that means now, but was it the I think it's the LGA thing, the land grid array number that will match up to a motherboard. But yeah, let's see what we've got here. We've got an Intel Xeon Xeon E530, okay, and we have an Intel Core 2 Duo E6750. Alright, so we have two CPUs. So they're LGA, and the reason you know that is because they're the land grid array, which is, they got no pins, they're like a flat dotted scheme on there, you can see that. So we need a motherboard that's compatible with that, and the motherboards we have this motherboard here, and this is from Intel, and it's got a number on there, E210882. okay, that's quite heavy. And we've got a second motherboard, and this is a Foxconn N15235. So we have some CPUs, we have some motherboards. I don't know if these CPUs will be fitting it. There's actually a CPU in this motherboard here as well, so I did not know that. Let's see what that looks like. And to get that out, press down on this arm, should lift that up. I thought that would aha, and then try and get this out without bending all the pins like I've just done. Right, great. What's this chip? And this is a Core 02, this is a Core Duo as well. 4300, so 1.8 hertz on that one, 2.66 hertz on that one, and 2.66 hertz on that one. So this one has the less hertz. Okay, what I want to do is keep this in this board for a minute so that we don't bend any pins. Okay, so we actually have 3 CPUs in that we can use. I don't know what type this one is, but I know that's a 771 and 775. What I want to do first off, guys, is I want to check if any of these motherboards are better than the motherboard I have in there. I thought I had another motherboard actually. Hold on. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it if there's another motherboard. But so we have 3 chips, 2 boards. I want to check if any of these boards are better than the board I have in my system. If it is, we're going to swap it out. And if it isn't, this is one of these boards are going to be the boards we use for the computer that we're going to build for you guys. I do like the colour of this one. This Foxconn N15235 is blue, so that'd be a nice upgrade for the colour. It's got a lot of different headers in here that the other board doesn't have, and this one has a lot of USB headers, graphic card slots, PCSI slots. So these have more PCSI slots than I have, so these possibly are better than mine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to research these numbers, I'm going to input them into my spreadsheet and see if these are better than the one I have in my system at the moment. And if it is, I know the chip in my system is better than these chips, so will these motherboards take my chip? That's also a factor. If it can't, then we can't use it. Yeah, so I've got to go and look at the manuals and see if these boards are better. There's the BIOS chip. It looks like you can take that BIOS chip out of that one. Alright, let's do that. Let's research these boards. Let's see if these boards are better than what I have and whether they can take, I think the Core i5 I have in there, or the i3, I can't remember now. But we'll see if it's compatible. If it is, we'll swap these boards out. We need to check if they're working first. We need to check, because this one has damaged pins, I know that. And this one obviously has a chip in it, so it doesn't have a damaged pin. I'm sure I have another motherboard somewhere that had damaged pins as well, but okay, let's see. So let me do that, and we'll research this, and I'll put it onto a spreadsheet, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright guys, so just bringing you up to the screen now and show you what I've been doing. So I've been completing out a spreadsheet with the motherboards and the CPUs that I showed you earlier. So I've got tabs here that covers power supply, cases, motherboards, GPUs, RAMs, whatever. So the motherboards, we've established that they're both LGA socket 775. I'm leaning towards the Foxconn, but I know the Foxconn's got the bent pins, and I'll tell you for why in a minute when I show you the CPUs. I'm just trying to keep this camera steady, hold on. So the Foxconn can handle 95 watt processor, Intel Core Quad Duos and Pentiums and E53s, and this one can support the Intel Pentium 4 hyper-threading technology, and it says 5200, 5300s, so I'm guessing these 5200, 5300s are the same. Yeah, they're both 775 LGAs. This Intel one has 4 DIMM slots, this one has 2, the Foxconn. The expansion slots, there's an additional Express Mini on the Foxconn. There's 4 there's 4 areas storage connectors versus the 2. 4 on the Foxconn, 2 on the Intel. Foxconn supports Realtek high definition sound, about the same on the Ethernet, and then Foxconn has less rear panel connections and less internal connections, I believe, although they might be the same. Yeah, and the Foxconn's called a Micro ATX. Alright, so we know we've got LGA 775 only sockets. So looking at the CPUs we have, this was the 3. I've highlighted the one I think we're going to be using. I'll tell you for reasons why. So the Xeon, which is actually the better one out of the 3, has 4 cores, 4 threads, does 80 watts, so the motherboards can handle that, or the Foxconn one can handle that. It's 2.6 gigahertz and 1.33 bus speed gigahertz, but it's a 771 socket needed, and I don't have that. I have 775, so that rules out the Harpertown Xeon E430. Yeah, E430. So that's ruled out because of the socket. So now it left us with these two, Intel Duo 4300 and Intel 6750. But when I look at the motherboard compatibilities, I don't have a 400 series and I don't have a 650, was it? 6750. So we could have a non-compatible board here. However, the 4300, the 6750. They're both LGA 775s. They operate, the 4300 operates less. They're both 65 watts. The frequency the Duo operates at is at 1.8 gigahertz, and the frequency of the Intel Duo 6750 is 2.6. So it's much better here, speed-wise. The size of the die is the same, 65 nanometers. There's 120 odd more million transistors on the 6750. The die size is slightly bigger. They both operate D1, DDR1, 2, 3 dual channels. This E6750 came out almost a year after the 4300, and yeah, really nothing. And there was about $70 difference in the price. So this is the newer one, we know that. So I think we're going to pair that CPU with the Foxconn. Now the problem I have with that is the Foxconn's got the bent pins, right? So I want to try it with the Intel first, and if it doesn't work, we'll try and fix the Foxconn pins and see if it works in there. So that's it, guys. We're going to go with the Intel first with the 6750 and see if it works. Now all I did to get this information, you know, I just jumped onto Google, typed in the chips and the references. Tech Power App has a great website, gives you all the information so you can do your own comparison. And yeah, took all the information from that. I was comparing it with my one. My one's obviously the better one now, I've established, and the motherboard has to remain the same because of the socket. So we're not changing anything there on my personal rig, but it looks like definitely the Intel Duo 6750 is the better one, so we'll use that. And we're going to go with the Intel E210882 motherboard. So I'm going to probably clean them both, but I'm going to clean this one up. And I've run out of time for now, so maybe I'll clean it. Let's clean up the motherboard. Yeah, so it looks like what I'll do is I'll clean up this motherboard, and I'll insert the CPU into the socket. Alright guys, so we're gonna put this CPU away. Now I just realised I forgot about that. This motherboard had the 4300 already in it, so we know the 4300 is compatible with this board, but is the E6750 compatible with it also? So we are changing whatever this board was doing originally, we are changing that. So I think it will work, but we're going to try it, and all we're going to do now, we'll put this one away so we don't mix that one up. We're just going to give it all a clean up. Let's give it a good clean. Again, we're going to use isopropyl alcohol. Get a little cloth. I think we'll start with the chip. So we know this chip is better than that chip, but does that chip work in that motherboard? I do not know. If not, we know that that chip works in that board, right? Because it came with it. So what I'm going to do now is spray the cloth. If it comes out, I'm running out. I don't know, guys. And then we can clean the CPU. I think we can also clean the pads on the back. Be careful not to touch or disturb the capacitors, resistors, or whatever you want to call those. Just needs a very light clean, so they're nice and shiny. Yep. Put it to one side. And let's get this board So let's see if we can swap out the chip. So all we do is, the retention bar is already up from previous. I'm going to grab this chip now. Now there should be a triangle, so there was a triangle there. You can't put it in that way because it has little notches that it needs to feed. There should have been a triangle. Yeah, you can see the outline on the board right there. I'll just show you. So you're always looking for a sort of triangle. See that little line there, to me indicates, I think, that that's where the triangle should be matching up with. See that, right? Because the rest of it is square box around it. The rest of that white line is a square box going around, although it is cut off there. So maybe I'm wrong. Let me see, let me have a closer look. Ah, I see the triangle now. You see it? It's right there on the metal piece. You might just get it. That's where so it's showing you where the triangle should go. So the triangle on the CPU should be in this bottom left corner. Make sure that's dry. So on the CPU, you know the drill. Little triangle in the corner there, you see it? Flashing. Shiny. There's nothing in the other corners. There's a dot here, don't get confused with a dot. It's the triangle you want, that matches the triangle on the board. And so it goes in. But this is handy as well because it also has notches, so you can't really not line that up. And it does fit. So then we just put the board down. Make sure this clips over. Give it a little tension, push the lever down and it hooks into the side there. You want to do that before you start cleaning, because I learned from the Foxconn motherboard when I bent all the pins. I wonder what's under here. A massive heatsink here. Alright, so we have a board, we have the better of the two chips. I can put this chip away. Unless it don't work, unless this chip doesn't work in this board, and this chip comes back out, right? Alright, and now let's get cleaning. That resets the BIOS. While I was cleaning it, it gave me an opportunity just to check all the capacitors, heads. Doesn't seem to be any leakage or explosions on those. Also can check a few of the chips and the connections. There's a lot of dust and debris in and around all of the teeth, so that's all now cleaned. So that will stop hopefully any bridging. This is not an immaculate clean, but you want to go lightly in case you take off one of these components. There's no obvious missing components, but the board is so busy that I wouldn't know anyway, right? So nothing I can do about that. If there's a missing capacitor or chip, I would not know. But yeah, it's clean. We know the teeth are free from any debris or dust that could potentially bridge or cause any static. And well, that's it, guys. So that's all I'm going to do for this video, for this episode. If you want to see more, come back for next time. We're going to put we're going to find some compatible RAM that we have, and we'll put a cooler on here. So that'll be the next step. So we get the RAM, the cooler with the fan connection, and then a power supply. So we know that the chip was what, 80 watts or something around that mark, or 60 watts or 80 watts, can't remember now. And yeah, we'll see if the board works. I think that's all you'll need to power it up, obviously a monitor and keyboard and stuff. But board's clean, CPU chosen. Come back for the next video to see what we do with the RAM and the cooler. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please hit the subscribe button. Try and help this grow this channel. If you've got any parts that you want to give away, hit me up on my Instagram, the link is below. Tell me how we can arrange to pick up the parts or deliver them or send them via post, building them, see if they work, troubleshoot them, and give them away for free. So I'm going to continue doing this, going to continue getting pieces, continue looking on Trash Nothing Facebook, and hopefully you guys can start hitting me up and sending me stuff, and I'll continually build computers, and hopefully if the channel grows and there's money to be incoming from somewhere, or if I get a sponsor, that'd be good. Don't have any sponsors yet. Then it will pay for better parts and better computers going out the door, right? So yeah, let's leave it there for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Again, thank you, please subscribe. I'm out.